just fall into a dream.
I know some people who might be listening. Their first question is, "What is Kuk Sool Won?" So I feel like if I was to ask anyone that question, you would be the one that would know the best answer.
I can certainly give you a little more background on it. So Kuk Sool Won is a Korean traditional martial art.
Mm.
And so it's not as well known as Taekwondo or karate, the names that are more publicized, in the movies, in media, things like that. And those terms have actually become almost generic terms. So people think of, or you talk about martial art, they either instantly think of, well, karate or Taekwondo, the big names that you hear. Kuk Sool Won, even though it's one of the largest martial art associations in the world, the name isn't as well known just because of it's not in the media too often. But quick overview of what it is. So if you take martial art originally as like a pie, right? It incorporated everything. True grandmasters, they studied the entire spectrum of the art. And then only really in more modern times have these styles come up where you have, karate, taekwondo, and jiu-jitsu and judo, and
Mm.
all took portions of that martial art study, and they focused on what they were good at or what they had kind of a natural talent for or what they enjoyed, and they kind of created that style. And Kuk Sool Won is one of the very few arts that didn't kind of specialize. Instead, we focus on studying the entire art. So much more long term. It's a study of an art over preparing for like a particular event, like a sport would be. And it's just very, very comprehensive. There's no other single martial art that has the depth that Kuk Sool Won has.
Yeah, because if you're looking at the entire spectrum, you're going to have so many pieces and parts of it. If I recall, I would see a lot of the activities that your classes would be doing would not only include the obvious parts of martial art, but also using weapons.
Correct.
And in some cases, if I'm not wrong here, focusing on the moment and more of meditation and really getting into the situation.
Well, so most people, they think of martial art and they think of, okay, well, fighting,
Yeah.
right, self defense, and truly, like true martial art, you don't study to fight, right? That's not really art. That's sport. So if you're studying to fight, for example, like doing very popular these days is mixed martial art, right? Those guys are preparing for to fight, right? That's their goal, and so the way that they train is very, very different. So we study in art. We study for the betterment of ourselves, physically, mentally, and really the ability to defend yourself is actually a byproduct
Mm.
of studying the art. So with a sport, again, you generally have a particular goal that you have in mind. I want to get in the ring and I want to fight and I want to win, right? So that's how you direct your training. Whereas in the art, we don't expect to fight. We don't really have that in our mind. However, with what we study, um, we have the ability to defend ourselves. And defending ourselves and fighting, very, very different things, very different objectives and different ways that you prepare for it.
Yeah, and what I meant by the way was exactly what you were talking about, the kind of the art and the development. It seems that if you don't have that specific goal of fighting, it becomes a serene and peaceful practice more
Absolutely.
than a aggressive and
Certainly, yes, and I mean, really, our goal in our training in our school is we tell everyone the two things that um, I want you to feel when you come to the school. One, it's a very respectful environment. And then the respect starts from the top down. The highest ranks are going to show the best manners because we want you to follow that example. And the second is that it's a very positive environment. It's very positive because that's the environment that's conducive to learning. And again, since we're not expecting to have to fight, we're not constrained with, okay, guys, we have a fight in 3 weeks. This is what we got to do to prepare for it, right? Instead, we're studying for the life benefit, the physical benefit of the training, the activity, the exercise, the mental benefit of having to really focus in order to perfect certain motions and to develop the body and your strength and your flexibility. And then you get the camaraderie of the people around you all going towards that same goal. And oftentimes in the realm that's kind of preparing for fighting, it's very aggressive, right? By nature, it kind of has to be, right? And so, and for some people, that's what they want to do. And if that's your desire, there are some great schools for that. If your desire is more about becoming a better person and enjoying life and having a longer, more fulfilling life and the ability to defend yourself if the event ever arises, I think studying an art is probably the better way to go.
Yeah. You're talking about the fact that a lot of other martial arts, you have to prepare for a fight. You have a goal in mind. And it made me think of, obviously, I think it may have passed a lot of people's mind hearing this UFC, right?
Sure.
And you had said that Kuk Sool Won doesn't get a huge amount of media attention. And also taken from a discussion that I had talked to you about way back, you had actually, for a second, I think, been like, what if I get into, or at least entertain the thought, not entertained it, but entertain the thought of getting into UFC. And you're like, yeah, it's just not worth it on my body, etc. But where I want to get with all that is that something that you think will ever be, do you think Kuk Sool Won will ever break into UFC, or is because it's so focused on the art and the practice, it will not be incorporated into that at all? Or have we seen that? I mean, I guess I never really dug into it.
Well, we actually have had Kuk Sool Won practitioners in doing the, I don't know necessarily in the UFC itself, because there's many different fighting groups, right? UFC is one of the most well-known ones. But as far as actually, no, I think it was a UFC fight. I don't know which one. I don't really follow UFC too much. Although I have a lot of respect for those guys. I mean, there's no doubt they are highly skilled in what they study and prepare for. And so, yeah, I mean, we have had that. I know some Kuk Sool practitioners that do kind of they are in that full contact realm. I did a lot of that when I was younger, and more of these open tournaments that were full contact tournaments and stuff like that. And they were good. They were good experience building. But yeah, and I don't really have a desire to get into it.
Definitely not the time.
Well, I mean, for one, like, I've been studying martial art for almost 30 years. I've done a lot of competition, and so the competition really isn't a motivator for me. I don't have anything to prove except to myself and to my teachers. So that's one thing, and the other is it's very hard on the body.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
that's what you had mentioned.
I was doing the full contact stuff when I was younger, and you get hurt. I mean, you might win. That doesn't mean you're not getting hurt. Right. So, what is it worth it? And then the other thing is, I run a martial arts school, and so I train very hard for myself, but I don't see like the benefit, the risk benefit analysis isn't there for me to do that. But I did entertain it for a little while, but it's not really. Again, I'm more interested in the art, not as much into the sport side of it. So, but I mean, there's always a number, right? Someone gave me a certain number, get in the ring. Obviously I'd have to win. Obviously, I wouldn't expect anything if I lost.
Yeah.
But no, it would. There's a number I would get in the ring for it. But
what's that number?
Now you're gonna put me on the spot.
What's that number range?
I mean, I wouldn't even think about it for under like 50,000.
Okay. So if there's a random UFC sponsor that's here in this,
no, not really that interested. No. But I mean, like, there's a number I would say, okay, that might be worth it.
Yeah.
It might be more than 50. I don't know.
So obviously you're saying you're doing that a lot when you're younger. Guys and girls that are coming into your classes, is that exciting for them? Is that something it takes them for a while to realize that it's not necessarily the priority, or is that something that drives a lot of your students? What's kind of the balance on why are teenage to early 20s individuals getting into your classes and being like, you know what, I can't wait to be taught by David Au? What's their reasoning? What's their motivation behind it for most of them?
So in our school, well, I mean, we were talking about like contact fighting. Very few people come into our school looking for that. And we do have that on occasion. And I let them know in the beginning that this isn't a sport focused training. This is art, right? And so we will learn all of the material that you could possibly ever want to learn. It's all in the syllabus, but it's going to take time. And so if you're looking to get into a ring and get into a full contact fight in the next 6 months, the school might not be the place for you to be. And so I try to be very honest with people. And obviously, before anybody starts, I want them to watch a class. They take an introductory lesson. And by and large, people that come to our school, one is they've heard of our school. We've been in Clear Lake since 1991, and so we have a huge reputation in the community. From in the Kuk Sool Won realm, I mean, our school is known by pretty much everybody, and it's the way that we approach teaching. So it's the energy in the classroom. What we teach. Obviously, Kuk Sool Won as an art is an unbelievable art, and like anything else, you can have something really amazing, but if you can't communicate that well to somebody, they don't feel the same way. So I think it's our teaching approach that really inspires people to come in, be committed, and train with us for years, decades. I mean, we just had a high belt testing yesterday, actually. We had students testing for 4th degree and 5th degree, and no one in that group has been training with us for less than 15 years. So,
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot of dedication, and that's what we like. We're not looking to have a student come in and join us for a 6-week introductory program. We'll give them an introductory lesson, let them see the class, and then we're looking to keep the student for years, because truly developing the art, it takes time. There's really no shortcut. You have to practice. You got to dedicate the time to do it. And then to have that from somebody, they have to be motivated. And that's our job. Our job is to keep them motivated through the natural up and downs of anything that you do in life, right? There's going to be highs, and there's going to be lows. When you're on the high point, well, everything's easy. You're super easy to motivate when you're on the high point. When you're at that low point, that's when it really takes a good teacher to help that student get through it and get their way back up to that next high point. And when they can develop that in our school, I feel, especially as being younger, whether they're 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, it's going to help them in the rest of their life. And I have students constantly tell me how, us pushing them not to quit when they were having a downtime helped them as they got older. I've had kids that started when they were 5 and 6 years old and then gone off to college and then come back and say, Master David, I can't thank you enough for these lessons, because they give me an example of how something happened in their life that was tough. And they thought exactly back to one of the classes or one of the talks that we had or Master Harmon had with them. And then that's what got them through it. And that's one of the most rewarding parts of teaching and doing what we do, I think.
But when, what I want to know is, because we didn't really talk about this aside from when the school started, how come you originally started?
There at Kuk Sool?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was 11 years old. I was a kid. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about anything, right? The school was down the street from my house. I could walk there. When kids actually walked places and rode bicycles and things like that.
Yeah, had to watch out for dinosaurs, though.
Dinosaurs, that's true. That was a
Yeah.
while ago. So that's the real reason I started there. Was just proximity. I had no idea that the two school owners were some of the highest ranking practitioners in the world, world renowned, champion winners. I mean, and then, yeah, I got very, very lucky. I mean, I've been very lucky in life, in a number of respects, including stepping in the door there and, starting to take classes. Now, in all honesty, I mean, like, you're a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Batman, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to be a crime fighter.
Yeah.
Ninja crime fighter. And hey, why not? Let's do it. And so that was one of my motivations to want to start. And I just fell in love with it. And I mean, after I never left. Like now my mother-in-law, I mean, she told me many times, why are you still here? Your class ended 3 hours ago. You don't have a home? Go home.
Oh,
So, I
man.
mean, some great stories about that. I mean, I was just, I'd get out of school. I'd walk to the dojang, the martial arts school.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes no one was there yet. I'd just wait. They need help cleaning up. I'd help clean up, and I'd sit and do my homework on the bench. And eventually, like, I was there so often, one of the advanced classes, like there was an odd number of people. They needed an extra partner. They
Mm-hmm.
called me on the floor to be a partner. And that was like the best day of my life, right? I was asked to help,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's, spurred it. And I had great teachers. I had great mentors, and just the environment was amazing. And so, I just never wanted to leave. Still haven't.
So just happened to be around the corner. Then you fell in love with it, and you
Mhm.
found it as kind of your purpose.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what's up. And you wanted to start as a ninja crime fighter.